to be a really good partner in helping the Spurs to continue to reach out to other markets?
They've been an amazing partner. I'll give the NBA a lot of credit because of all the major sports leagues. They were really at the forefront in terms of international expansion. It started obviously with our players and recruiting and retaining top-level talent from around the world, but really sort of the business mindset, starting with Commissioner Stern and now Commissioner Silver, on just having a sort of holistic, broad lens of who our fan base can be. The game is so international and can be accessed by so many. We'd be remiss if we just focused on the domestic or the U.S. demographic. And so we've seen a lot. It starts with our players, but really sort of reaching the fans where they're at. And the NBA fandom is literally worldwide.
Well, when we look at the Spurs into this upcoming season, we'll kind of transition back to on the floor. I'll admit, last year, watching Wemby prior to the draft and seeing his body style and body type, the questions were out there of how many minutes can he handle in year one of the NBA, and boy, the Spurs seem like a great place for him because Popovich has done such a really good job of managing egos, managing people. I think he played more minutes per game last year than I ever thought he could. I don't think it was a surprise to anyone that he was going to be Rookie of the Year, although the guy up in Oklahoma City, Chet and Wemby seem to have a pretty good little back and forth going against each other.
A little burgeoning, right?
Yeah,
game on.
Exactly. But I would assume the organization has to be thrilled with not only Wemby's progression, but the overall team as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to be clear. It's not an accident on Wemby being able to play as many minutes as he did. The guy and the organization takes tremendous care of his body. You think nutrition, you think recovery, you think stretching and mobility, you name it. There's attention being paid to it. And this off season, he was playing, so it wasn't really an off season for him. But he seemed to put on a lot of muscle. But he's been continuing to be super diligent about his entire process and keeping his body durable enough to maintain what is a rigorous NBA schedule. And all of our guys are the same way. We have a really good performance staff, and they pay really close attention to that stuff, from load management to coming back from injury. And they really do pay fine attention to that.
Brandon, I'm curious about the community involvement that you guys do. I mean, everyone knows that the Spurs organization is deeply committed to the San Antonio community. You guys having that office here, you living here, could you tell us a little bit about how you guys actively participate in charitable organizations and how you could have a positive impact on the city? Because I feel like with the changes that Austin has had, with the amount of people that moved here, I moved here 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. A lot of us are from different places, and we pledge allegiance to different teams. Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious that if you could weave that in, how you think you could maybe win those people over too.
So being stewards of the community is part of the Spurs ethos. We wouldn't be the Spurs if we weren't community centric. And one of the big things that we did here, one of the big initiatives that we did pretty early on, is align ourselves with the Parks Foundation. And so we've committed over $500,000 to the Parks Foundation to donate 5 courts in and around Austin over a period of 3 to 4 years. We've done 3, Walnut Creek, Dove Springs, Garrison Park, and then we have another one coming online. And if you are familiar with the Austin area, those are typically in underserved areas. And so our goal is to really sort of bring basketball to people, as we talked about at the start of this call. But community impact is paramount to everything that we do. We want the community to see us, but also feel us in a way that we figure out what the community needs, and then we try to get them those services.
That actually makes me really happy to hear, because I've seen so many like basketball courts being turned into pickleball courts, especially the one over there by Rosewood.
It drives me crazy.
That really makes me happy.
There's more on the way too.
All right, that's nice.
No, I'm not team pickleball. Sorry for the pickleball fans out there.
That means Brandon stands with us, which leads me to the next question. Brandon, you got your JD and MBA from the University of Georgia. Around these parts here, we don't like them Bulldogs too much. So Brandon, who you with?
Well, so I went to the Texas game against Georgia, and normally when I go to Texas games, I wear burnt orange.
Oh my gosh!
You know where this is going.
You did it?
At the UGA game, I had to wear black and red and had to support my alma mater. And it's just, I mean, look, I'm still paying them in tuition fees. They're gonna have my allegiance as long as I'm still cutting a check to pay for that tuition. But no, but University of Texas has been a tremendous partner to us in a lot of things that we do. One of which being a host to our game. So we play at the Moody Center, which is also the home of Texas women's and men's basketball program. And so we couldn't do the things that we want to do, particularly here in Austin, without that partnership with the University of Texas. So they'll always have my support. But going back to your Atlanta talking point, so I grew up a Hawks fan, obviously growing up in Atlanta. And interestingly enough, we are paying very close attention to the Atlanta Hawks these next few seasons, and the reason being is, and I'll just sort of educate you guys. I'll get cap nerd for a second here, but in the next 7 years, we own 12 first-round draft picks, right? We also own 18 second-round draft picks, and so that's probably the best asset class of any organization in the NBA. 3 of those picks belong to the Atlanta Hawks. And so this upcoming draft, we own the Atlanta Hawks draft pick outright. So it's completely unprotected. And so as much as I like to cheer for the Hawks and want them to succeed, every game I watch, I'm hoping the Hawks lose, because the better that draft pick is that we own, the better it's going to be for us. And so although I do have some Atlanta ties, I'm definitely anti-Hawks for the next few years as we own their picks.
I was just talking to Travis off air. Number 1 pick, Rossacker, the other day dropped 33 points.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He dropped 6 threes. And so I was going to ask Travis, and I want to hear from you two, because I think I'm going to lose young boy Jamal over there.
Young boy.
But what's your take on being Wally pipped? Will Danielle Hunter lose his position since he's been hurt all season? And Rossacker, they had to play him, and he just looked great. Yeah. And Hunter is still out. Do you believe? What's your take on being Wally pipped?
Look, I think they are loaded with young talent, and I think they're still figuring it out. And people are figuring out how to play with Trey, who's a unique talent in and of himself. Yeah. And so I think they're just going through the growing pains of how to build a team. Their general manager, Landry Fields, came from us, and so Landry and I were quite close, and now their assistant GM, Ansi, also came from our program. So we have super close ties to the Hawks. We're watching them closely, obviously, but I think they're still trying to figure it out, like a lot of young teams in the NBA, and they got some good young talent, and I hope they don't succeed in the next 3 years.
As a Mavericks fan, of course, Trey and Luka are going to be tied together forever because of the draft day deal. But as a Longhorn fan, I got to see a lot of Trey Young when he was at Oklahoma. But it has been a challenge for Atlanta trying to figure out exactly how to build that franchise around me. Rossacker looks like a really good building piece around him that may finally at least put the keel on more of an even basis for the Hawks franchise moving forward. But because they've cycled a lot of names and bodies through that organization trying to fill that, and it's not easy to do. And the Mavericks didn't find it easy with Luka. The Spurs are still in the early stages with Wemby. Everything looks really good, and obviously, this is not just because you're here. We've said this many times on this show. I don't know many people throughout the NBA who wouldn't call the front office for the Spurs the best front office in the NBA, or at least among the elite front offices. Yeah. And so if anybody is going to have a clear path in their mind, it probably would have been the Spurs even before draft day. And so I don't think that's a surprise, but it's not always easy to build just because you get what you know is going to be a superstar, right? Everyone knew Luka was going to be great, but you still got to build something. Yeah. It's not always that easy.
It's truly not always that easy. There's so many variables, whether it be health, whether it be things going around the players, whether it be coaching situation, whether it just be freak accidents. Like, you never know. It's so hard. I want to underscore that piece. It's so hard. Even drafting a player, like, there's some guys you just know are going to be the guy, but for the most part, you're just guessing. You're literally guessing. And so we try to spend a lot of time with our scouts on figuring out what the intangibles we're looking for are, because playing a guessing game, one thing that you can sort of rest on is, like, is this person going to put in the work? Is this person committed to a team first sort of ethos? Is this person going to take care of his body? Is this person a good human? And so I think you can mitigate some of that risk by really doing your due diligence on who the talent and player is. But to underscore your point, it's very, very hard to build a winning team in the NBA. It's so competitive.
Yeah.
Hey, do you think coaches need to change, gentlemen? So we're talking about Zachary Riesacker, #1 pick in the NBA draft. He was born in Spain. Mm-hmm. Our coaching, if we're using American males for coaching predominantly,
sure,
maybe not of the most diverse backgrounds. Maybe they don't have international ties. Maybe they can't speak a bunch of languages. Mm-hmm. Do we have to start training our coaches to be able to handle these #1 picks that come from different backgrounds? Is that even something that you guys thought about as an organization to make Wemby feel better?
No, it's something we think about. The example is our performance group, and so how we treat that. Like, one of the differences between sort of American wellness and international wellness is here in America we treat injuries, and the international model is they try to prevent injuries.
Okay.
And so one of the things that we've tried to do was adopt some of that international approach on injury prevention, doing a lot of pre-work, doing a lot of recovery work, and that model is now sort of commonplace in the NBA, but it hasn't always been. And so to your point on, we're always looking at what's going on, not only domestically, but across the world. And I think not only performance staff, but coaches, analytics, everyone is looking at what everyone's doing, because information now is so democratized. And so if you're not looking at best practices across the world, you're probably playing catch up to what other people are doing.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask if I could, was that in my industry that I work in, ran into Drew Hayes.
Okay.
Wanted to ask a little bit about your involvement with the board of directors of the Austin Sports Commission.
Yeah, no, we know Drew well. So Drew is the head of so as a part of Visit Austin, they have what's called the Sports Commission, and the Sports Commission's role is to figure out what sporting events should and could come to Austin. So think of F1s, think of Final Fours, think of CrossFit championships, think of volleyball tournaments. And so our goal is really to make Austin a high priority for these tournaments, these organizations, when they're looking to spread their brand or play their tournament somewhere. We want Austin to be high on those lists. And so Drew's put together a really talented group of people. A lot of good friends are on that committee with me, on that board with me. And our goal is just to provide Austin, a lot of things, right? Provide Austin the access to this elite level sort of sporting environment, but also make sure that Austin continues to be a place that is a city that's on the climb, and we want to be mentioned in the likes of the New Yorks, the LAs, and not the sort of superficial way, but as a place, a destination place that people want to come and that people will like living. And sports is a big part of that.
Yeah, for sure.
We had a significant amount of turnover, I'd say, when you have players that come up and come down, G League up and down.
Yeah.
The Lakers look like they're going to send Bronny down.
Yeah.
I'm against that, Brandon. I believe he should stay up. He's the 12th man. Didn't nobody care about the 55th pick last year, who I think was with the Celtics, and his amount of time. And that person can die at the end of the bench and no one would know. What's your take on sending people down to the G League or occupying that 12th man position? We
are big proponents of the G League here in Spurs land. We've had a lot of our our elite level talent come through and play at the G League. Think Corey Joseph, think DeJounte Murray, think Derek White. All those guys spent significant time in the G League, and it's been a big catalyst and reason that our players have been able to develop the way they have. The Lakers are looking to compete for a championship, and so they're going to put the best talent on the floor. And if Bronny's not going to see the floor, I think the Lakers have lost 3 of their last 4.
Yes.
If Bronny's not going to see the floor in those games, it doesn't make sense for him to just be out there and doing warm-ups before the game and doing warm-ups at halftime. He needs to get reps. He needs to get reps against professional players. He needs to be getting a rhythm and figuring out what professional basketball is. I mean, the guy's just coming out of high school. I know he spent a year at USC, but he's got a lot to learn about professional basketball, and it's going to be really hard to do that, as you mentioned, as a 12th guy on the bench. And so the more reps he can get, the more time he can get on the floor against professional athletes, I think it's going to be better for Bronny and better for the organization. And that's not me telling them how to run their organization, but that's just my opinion.
I was actually talking to a buddy of mine about the Mavericks the other day. Omax Prosper is just not getting any playing time, and I would expect my anticipation this year is that if you really think Omax can be a part of your organization in the future, you've got to get him reps.
Yeah.
And so he needs to go over to the G League franchise.
Douglas just wants him to waste away on the end of the bench, an extra water guy or something. Who knows?
That's right.
You're halfway right. The only other, and I'll be quick on this. I don't want to make you mad, Jamal. The only other thing, Brandon, you have a peer over in that Spurs organization who is the money guy or the marketing guy or gal, and I guarantee you they're saying, "Yo, Brandon, we're selling a lot of jerseys. There's a lot of requests. There's a lot of clicks on Bronny everything."
Yeah.
Do you think that person in other organizations or even yours, do they get heard out? Do people hear them out sometimes?
Yeah, no, I mean, you bring up a fair point, the commercial aspect of all of this. And so I think organizations look at it differently. Philosophically, we're looking to build championship teams for the long run. And if you can have a player develop, that's only going to make you a better team in the long run. And so we don't take that sort of quick approach. Could we get more clicks if we had a guy on our bench versus sending him to the G League? Maybe, but in the long run, we want to build a championship team, not only for 1 year, but for future years too.
Okay.
All right, this has been Brandon James. He is the Senior Vice President of Strategic Growth and Deputy General Counsel for the San Antonio Spurs. Brandon, thank you so much for coming in with us.
Always deliver, Brandon.
Always a treat.
All right, we need to get to a break. We'll be back right after this.
Thanks.
Back on the Fans View, KAZI 88.7. Travis Kent alongside Douglas Washington. Across the room, because he's twisting and tweaking the dials today, Jamal January.
Yep.
Thank you to Brandon James of the Spurs once again. But, hey, you know what time it is. It's Mr. Oklahoma time.
Oklahoma time.
Yes, sir. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Mr. Oklahoma, how you doing?
Hey, man, when are you going to have the Rockets, somebody from the Rockets organization on now, from Dallas organization on your show, man? I mean, you can do it by phone.
Yeah, we do need to start reaching out. You know, we're kind of. I tell you what, and I think you would back me up on this, Mr. Oklahoma. Back in our previous iteration of this show, it was kind of up to me to go out and find the guests. The station has been a great help and support for us since we came back as the new sort of Fans View 2.0, if you will.
Yeah.
The station has played a much more active role. I thank them for that. They have connections that I just can't get as a non-media person. Yeah. They're selling advertisements, things like that. But I can, as a host, I can do some reaching out and look, the Mavericks and the Rockets would be very receptive to having somebody come on the air with us, and so I'll try to be a little more proactive in reaching out across the state and trying to get a little bit more too.
And Mr. Oklahoma, we have a brand new station manager, and literally on the break just now, we went out to do a social media pick, and even he was just reminding us about how important and how cool it's going to be that we're going to have Brandon James, and because he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off, I had to say, oh yeah, we just finished the interview with him. So he is a great behind the scenes guy. He has ties to the music industry. He is working very hard to get us some great people on. I expect that you will see some Dallas and Houston organization people. I don't even doubt it.
Yeah. Hey, Captain Douglas, are you going to the parade on Monday? Are you going to be in the parade?
I am not going to be. Wait, which parade are you referring to?
The veterans.
Oh, I am speaking at a school. I'm not sure of the time of the parade, but I do have a couple of events I have to attend. I am a veteran, for those who don't know, 28 years served our glorious country, but I'll be speaking at a school on Monday, and I've got a couple other little things I got to do there. So I don't want to overcommit, sir. I don't want to overcommit.
Yeah. Hey, I want to change the subject. Okay, I done told Travis a bunch of times, I do not watch the first half of the NBA. Because to me, the first half, those guys are getting to know each other. They get in their shape. I don't watch the first half. I watch after the All-Star break. You know, but I do watch college basketball, men and women. And Alabama's ranked number 2 in the nation in college basketball.
Yes. Yes.
God, they must got a pretty good team.
Yeah. Yes, they do. And they had an amazing recruiting class. I wish we could have talked about Avery Johnson when he came to Alabama. And was it because of his illustrious career with the Spurs, or they brought it in? But with that hire, it makes me know that from that point going forward, Alabama wants to be a serious basketball school, and I'm here for it. I'm excited.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you, man, I love college basketball. I like college basketball. I like high school basketball. On ESPN, man, they be showing like Georgia and Atlanta. Man, I want to see the Texas teams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to see Georgia and Alabama and Memphis. I don't want to see that. I want to see what's going on in Dallas. Because, you know, Dallas got some basketball schools. Houston got some basketball schools. San Antonio, Waco. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
They played Texas's very first game against Ohio State on TNT and on HBO Max if you do have those streaming platforms.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Are there any teams in men's college that you're excited about? You know, everyone's expecting Kansas to have another good year.
Yeah.
Who are you interested
in? Kansas.
Okay. And for those who don't know, Mr. Oklahoma is from Houston.
Number 2.
Okay.
UConn's going for a three-peat.
Yeah,
Alabama's number 2. I forgot who's number. Like in the top 10.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in. You know, I love the top 10.
Okay.
Really the top 5.
Well, obviously,
I love college basketball. The men and women and North and South Carolina women. Guess where they rank?
oh yeah,
Yeah. North Carolina is in the top 10.
They rank number 1.
yeah, that's right.
And the men's are
Yeah, they
number
rank
9.
number 1. South Carolina women.
Yep, that's right.
2 teams in the top 10.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, Mr. Oklahoma is a longtime caller, everyone, and he's from Houston. So, Mr. Oklahoma, I didn't hear you say University of Houston there.
Did.
You went UConn, you went UNC,
Yeah.
you went everybody else. You even went Kansas.
Yeah.
You sleeping on Houston this year.
Houston is ranked number 4 right now, but they was ranked number 4 last year.
Okay.
And they fell back and they came back up and all that, you know. But I need to see the coach, man. Let's get on up there to at least number 3, number 2, number 1.
Never satisfied.
How is 4
You know
not
what
good
I'm
enough,
saying?
Travis?
That's
How?
But they are ranked in the top 5, so I like that.
Well, let me tell you, Mr. Oklahoma, because what you have to look forward to is because this year, let's see, tomorrow you guys take on Auburn. You guys take on Auburn.
Yep.
Let's see, on the 26th,
Yep, that's the one.
you got Alabama.
Roll Tide, Mr. Oklahoma, in that game.
Yeah, right. It's all good. You know, it's all good.
They're number 2.
Because I know all y'all been against me, but hey, I love it, man. I love it. All y'all against me.
No.
January against me, you know.
Hey, I
Mr.
like.
January against me too, you know.
I like what Kelvin Sampson's done at Houston,
Yeah.
and it's I grew up with Houston as a college basketball power, and I feel like that U of H in the top regularly in the top 25 and certainly a part of the top 10. I feel like college basketball is better with U of H up there. I really do. That's just the way I feel.
Mr. Oklahoma.
Man, I still haven't forgot that championship game, man. When they lost to NC State, man.
It gives me nightmares at night too, because I was rooting for them for sure.
Yeah. Hey, let's get on some football, man.
Okay.
Hey.
Man, y'all. Hey, you know what? Like what I said last week about Oklahoma, we're done. We won last week. So what? So what? But you know, we won last week, but I'm still not satisfied. I think Brett Venables needs to be demoted to defensive coordinator and get somebody else to be head coach. That's what I think.
Oh my gosh!
Oh.
So I think he needs to be demoted to defensive coordinator because, man, I'm not happy with him.
So you're keeping him on the staff, which is a shock,
Yeah.
which means you respect him and his defensive coaching abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think he'll do better.
right. So then why can't you just trust in that and allow him to mold this team into a defensive stopper and, you know, whatever the offense does, but it sounds like so why would you I don't understand. You don't want to totally cut bait.
Well, you know, I mean, I really do, but I'm trying to get a man a chance. I don't want to see him lose his job, you know.
Oh, okay, that's big of you then.
But I'm just trying. I think he would be a better defensive coordinator than a head coach because he's not doing so good, man.
You're a nice guy.
We don't really have a quarterback. We don't really have a quarterback, man.
Yeah.
No, that's
You know?
yeah.
We all agree on
You
that.
can go find one in the portal just like that. You'll be all right.
Hey, I heard DJ Ugalugale that Florida State has. I think you'll take him. Clemson. He was a Clemson guy, so he's been at two powerhouses. Yeah, go get one of those guys.
Yeah, we need somebody.
We'll
but
see.
let's talk about tomorrow. I'm gonna tell you, man. Y'all better watch out for Florida because I'm gonna tell you that coach is on the hot seat.
Yeah, no, they certainly will be playing with a heightened sense of awareness because if they want to try to save their coach's job, they better play with reckless abandon. And they you know, in reality they haven't played poorly on the defensive side of the ball in the last several weeks. The offensive side is really where Florida continues to struggle.
Yes.
They had settled on a quarterback, and then now that quarterback Mertz is out, and so they're back to Lagway. Lagway's just so young. He's athletic, but he's hasn't been consistent enough at being able to push the ball down the field in the passing game. But no, yeah, I fully look. This is a 21.5 point spread, and I don't think there's any chance Texas covers. And I think Texas could play really, really well and not cover. I think Florida is getting better than what they're being given credit for.
Did you watch the Georgia-Florida game?
Yeah.
I listened to it on the radio. I did not get a chance to watch it.
DJ actually got hurt.
Yeah.
And I don't – is he playing?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
you're right. DJ did get hurt in that game, too.
And when the third string or the kid from – they got him from Ivy League. I forgot which school they said they got him from. He was struggling.
He's from Harvard. Did he go to Harvard?
Harvard, yeah. It was one of the Ivies.
We got a Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Nah, not at all. He was not playing
He's
good.
not that good?
He's not that good. He was struggling.
Because Fitzy was doing it. And he came from Harvard. Okay, so for those who don't know, Florida played number 2 Georgia last week. They lost 34-20. Now they have played Texas A&M. Hold your booze, listening audience. And they lost 33-20. So those are two big time teams that they played. Roaring booze, cascading from all levels. And then they played number 19.
You think you meant whiskey.
So for those who are out there, if you're wondering what that team is, they, aside from the first game of the season, they got blown out by Miami, who's 19th ranked, 41-17. You know, it's relatively respectful. But yeah, that's when they had DJ Lagway in as their quarterback.
Well,
so
it's Texas.
This could get ugly for Florida fans. Hey, if you're a Florida fan, call in. We would love to have you at 512-836-2887.
Yeah.
What other game are you looking at, Mr. Oklahoma?
Man, I'm looking at Oklahoma and Missouri. That's a loss to us. We got to go to Missouri. That's going to be a loss to us. I'm telling you that now.
No, that's not what you're supposed to say.
Yeah, but I'm just being. I'm not going to lie to you guys. We don't have a good team this year.
Well, you're a 5-win team. You know, you're one game away from being bowl eligible.
We need one more win to qualify for a bowl game.
Sir.
We probably gonna lose the bowl game like we did last year. Get blown out.
Oh my!
You know what? I feel bad, and because I know we're gonna talk some Cowboys later. But I'm always curious when there's a fan that feels like you feel. And it feels like you're underwater, Mr. Oklahoma, and you don't see a chance to pull yourself up. So just tell me here. Your first year in the SEC, you're 1-4 in the SEC. What would it take for you to feel better about this year remainder? I want to hunt the good stuff. I want to know what could make you salvage this season and feel better about yourself. And I'm just going to offer something. You still have yet to play Alabama. If you were to knock off Alabama or LSU, because those are your last two games, would that save the season?
Serious? Oh, Douglas.
Okay.
Okay. What makes me feel better?
Yeah.
I want to win the rest of our games. But that's impossible.
Okay.
We're not going to win the rest of our games.
Well, then it ain't going to happen. I'm sorry. But then, it's over. It's over.
Man, I want to say, I hate to tell you guys, the Chiefs is going back to the Super Bowl because can't nobody beat the Chiefs.
Oh.
Maybe one team can beat the Chiefs, maybe the Lions. The Chiefs is going back to the Super Bowl, which I hate. I don't want to see them go back to the Super Bowl, but they are going back to the Super Bowl.
Okay. Travis, do you agree with him that that's who you have coming out the AFC?
That is who I have coming out the AFC.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jamal?
You can't bet against Mahomes, man. I try to. I try to give Lamar and the Ravens so much credit.
Yeah,
but,
I would love. And by the way, I think it may be Baltimore and Kansas City in a AFC Championship game. And do I think that Lamar could do it? Yeah, I do. I just if assuming Mahomes is on the field,
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I just think he'll find a way to win.
Hey, I'm going to go with the home team. If my boys support you, I support you, Mr. Oklahoma.
I tell you, Mahomes gonna have a broken leg, one leg, and they'll still win.
Oh my!
I mean, didn't he last
He
game?
is just that lucky.
Didn't he beat an NFL team on one leg last week?
He is just that lucky, man.
Yeah.
That's right.
He is just that lucky.
So,
Do we have to say the word luck though?
he's just that
word.
good.
Yeah,
He's good. That quarterback special that was on Netflix, I watched it and watched the training that he goes through, talking about his spine and everything, and I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, this dude's special.
Yeah.
That's what else you got, Mr. Oklahoma?
Yeah. Okay. Now, well, who was that guy for Texas that he's not on the team anymore? Number one. What happened to him?
Cook.
Yeah, Jonte Cook the second out of DeSoto. A 5-star receiver out of DeSoto. He's a burner. Mm-hmm. He's a really talented young player. Texas is at a point with Steve Sarkisian where skill position players want to come play for him.
Yep.
And the unfortunate thing when that happens is if you don't play up to either expectations or up to the level of the players coming in. And here's Jonte Cook's, this is my UT fan perspective looking at this from the outside. Jonte Cook was caught in a position where some upperclassmen who are really good wide receivers decided to transfer in. Yep. And is Jonte Cook good enough to play for Texas? 100% he is. Mm-hmm. But some guys transferred in who are just a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think Jonte looked around and said, this is going to happen every year. Am I willing to wait 2 more years to get significant playing time? Mm-hmm. I think he decided, I think I would rather go somewhere else and do that. And I think he probably sat down and talked to Coach Sark, and Sark probably agreed with him.
Yes, sir.
And said, I can't really disagree with you, Jonte. If that's what you feel you need to do, that's probably the right move for you.
I want everyone to know this is a 19-year-old man dealing with what Travis just said. And we all could probably handle and do it better. Not all of us do in that moment. If you ask me if I had it all together at 19, I don't want to lie to you. I'm going to say no. I've made some mistakes. I just want to remind people this. He did post on his social media, the bounce back gonna be crazy. And that on quote. He was the number 3 wide receiver. He was the number 6 player in the country. He had offers from Michigan, Oregon, those other guys, Texas A&M and Alabama. He's going to be okay.
Yeah.
He's going to be perfectly fine. And just to also pin a point on what Travis said, also the young guys that are coming in next year. UT has the number 3 receiver, the number 4 receiver, and the number 17 receiver coming in next year.
Yep.
You know, that's, I think, 1 5-star and the rest are 4-stars.
Who don't want to play with Arch?
Exactly.
You know, Arch going to spread that thing around.
And yeah, you look at that and think that in addition to because in addition to the recruits coming in, there's going to be 1 or 2 guys who are like, I'm gonna go give it a shot.
Yeah.
And Travis, Mr. Oklahoma, think about it this way. What you said, we got a 3, a 4, and was there a 9?
Number 3, number 4, and number 17.
Okay, so
this still goes on.
3 in the top 20 are coming here. Why?
Yeah.
Because Arch Manning's going to have every camera. You think all the cameras are with Coach Prime right now? It's about to be a circus every single week here next year with Arch. And if you're a receiver, you want some of that shine.
That's right.
And Jonte saying, man, I got to get off the bus. And we going to be okay here in Texas, too.
Hey,
right.
heard it here first. I'm predicting it. He's going to A&M. I'm calling it.
Okay.
That sounds
And
intentional.
That'd probably be a good spot for him.
I'm gonna tell
Yeah. Go ahead.
and I'm gonna tell you, y'all got that All-American coming from Galveston Ball. That dude is all world.
Oh, hey.
Jonah
He
Williams.
plays basketball. He plays basketball. He plays receiver. He plays safety.
Beach boy.
He plays quarterback. That dude
he's
is
a beach
all
boy.
world.
Yeah.
He's a beach boy. He does everything you just said. He does it in the sand every day down there on the beach. That's why he's so good.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm going to get off this line. I'll see y'all later. I'm going to be glued to my TV watching all these games and Alabama LSU, man. So y'all check that out.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Oklahoma. We appreciate it. 512-836-2887. You can get your calls and comments in as well. So DJ Lagway officially listed as questionable. It's a hamstring that he went out in the first half against Kentucky last week. And so Aiden Warner is the young man who came in to spell Lagway when he went out. Aiden Warner he's from Winter Park, so he's out of a program in high school that turns out a lot of prospects, but he went to Yale.
Okay.
I knew when I said Harvard, I'm like, it's not Harvard, but I can't remember which one it was. Yale. He went to Yale.
Are they the Terriers? Or are they
Bulldogs.
They're Bulldogs?
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
they're Bulldogs.
Bulldogs. Hey, Travis, Paul Quinn College. They're going to be in town. We're going to have a little Red River rivalry in town. It's the HBCU basketball classic. I'm going to go tonight. It's going to be at the convention center. And so representing Texas, you've got Paul Quinn College, and representing Oklahoma, you're going to have Langston University.
Okay.
So we're going to have that border war.
Hey.
So just kind of excited about that. But what would you say to our listeners out there if you are Mr. Oklahoma and you get on the precipice of being bowl eligible, 5 wins, but you got to run this gamut these last 3 games, as I mentioned, Missouri, Alabama, LSU. So they ain't going to be bowl eligible. You ain't getting a win out of those. So
Mr. Oklahoma probably has he's definitely well aware how difficult it's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to get there. But that being said, I do think their defense has played much better the last 3 games or so.
yeah.
You get a Missouri and you force a couple of turnovers. You get up on them early. Because I think Missouri's we know Missouri's overrated over what they were to start the year.
Absolutely.
Are they probably still talented enough offensively to put up points on Oklahoma? Probably so. But, like I said, All it takes is you force a couple turnovers, and we've seen bigger upsets than that in this conference. So
I'd be impressed if they can steal a win and be bowl eligible. I think that's the win.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Travis, you're saying there's a chance.
There is a chance. Yeah, there's a chance for sure.
Because we got some Sooner fans out there that's listening. I know we go hard on the UT stuff, but there's a few people. Because, it's always haters. Like right there in New York City, now everyone's not a Giants fan. In the nation's capital, everyone's not a Commanders fan. There's a lot of Cowboy fans over there in that neck of the woods. I'm from Virginia, so I know I got a lot of family members that are Cowboy fans. So yeah, I was just kind of curious, see if we could cast a little sunshine over there. Travis, since we were talking about next year, before we go to break, do you think, kind of to what I said, do you think when they're recruiting the Longhorns, they're just telling everybody about the circus, about the lights next year of playing with March, and maybe that is a recruiting tool? Do you think that's valid?
I mean, certainly you can use that if for those top of the level recruits that you're trying to find a way to close that deal because Alabama and OU and Michigan and Florida, all these teams are knocking on their door. Certainly, you can use that. But the biggest challenge Nick Saban had every year, that Sark's having for next year and moving forward, is though you have to find the person who can handle. Yes. Not only you can sell them on that, but then when you get them here, can they handle it?
Yeah,
I think that's the part that people don't give Nick Saban enough credit for.
Yeah,
he's a great coach, great recruiter,
amazing.
But the ability to find players who not only were highly ranked but got here and handled the pressure and the spotlight. And not everybody became a star. Sometimes that happens everywhere. But the ability of him to find guys who weren't afraid of the spotlight once they got in the spotlight. Because it's great to talk about and say you want the spotlight. It's another thing to handle it.
I know we got to go to break. I'd like to maybe do a little snippet of this. So it's kind of like to the point of Dylan Edwards, who is famous because he left Colorado and he went elsewhere. And it's there was another Amani. It was a cornerback that they had, and he thought he was going to come there and get it. Because I'd like to know if you think that is an embarrassment of riches, that once you start getting, because there's name recognition in Arch Manning. Going into next year, I bet no one else can name a starting quarterback for next year that they're excited, but you say everyone across America probably knows Arch. And the problem is now we're going to be stocking that locker room with a bunch of talent, and now you got to be able to retain that talent. So retention, I think, is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, for sure. So we need to get to a break. We'll come back on the other side. A lot more sports. KAZI 88.7, Travis Kent alongside Douglas Washington and Jamal January.
Yep.
Hey, I want to talk some NFL, guys.
Let's do it.
I will admit I did not watch last night's game.
Okay.
It was on my schedule to watch.
Yeah.
And then the fiance decided she wanted to watch something else. and which, by the way, I'll get I don't mind getting a quick plug in because we ended up watching that new Kevin Hart Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist.
Oh yeah,
have you heard about that?
Yes.
What'd you think?
It's really good.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
really
like
good.
The clips.
I've seen every
I am
episode.
excited. I like period pieces though.
Yeah.
Too. I like it because it seems so challenging to do a period piece.
It's done very well, period piece wise. It's worth a watch.
Okay, then you're off the hook. You're off the hook then.
Like we went through, it's 8 episodes, I think. We went through 6 last night. So.
I was gonna make fun of him.
You're gonna love the
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna
All right.
make fun of you, Travis. But now that I know that you looked at, you for the culture.
So.
Travis. And fiance.
That's right.
But Travis, had your favorite team, those who don't know, is the Cowboys. Had the Cowboys been playing, you would have at least pitched to her, let's arm wrestle for it?
No, if the Cowboys had been playing, she would have known never to bring something up.
Okay. That's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just talk. We don't have to get into the stats.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
let's just talk about. Are we in the era of? So Joe Burrow can beat Mahomes. Burrow can't beat Lamar, and then Josh Allen has the potential to beat everybody. And are we in a common day of having a beautiful rivalry right there in that division between the Ravens and the Bengals? So the AFC North for the next few years, we're guaranteed twice a year to see barn burners like we just saw last night. 34-35 final score. Joe Burrow against Lamar Jackson. That's got to be exciting for you. Am I alone in that?
No, 100%. We've got, I think we started talking about a couple years ago the quarterback matchups in the AFC.
Yeah.
Because at the time, when Aaron Rodgers was leaving Green Bay to go to the Jets, all of a sudden you looked in the NFC and you said, Brock Purdy is kind of your leading, like he's been the furthest in the playoffs of any quarterback in the NFC, and all of a sudden now the AFC is just loading up with these draft choices, and it has come to pass. Look, Burrow has had some early season struggles, but he's playing really well right now. He's got to be frustrated. They make a valiant comeback last night. But there are great quarterback matchups week in, week out on the AFC side for sure.
Yeah, at one point, Cincinnati was up last night 21-7, and Lamar comes back,
right?
And then they go up.
Yep.
And you could just tell that Joe was enjoying it. I think he likes this rivalry.
He does.
I think he likes this game. I am so excited that we're going to have this for the next few years of them going back and forth, as long as they both are healthy. Yeah. I think Joe has had a little more health scares than Lamar, which is weird, right? Because Lamar's the running quarterback. And even last night, he made a couple runs, and I just knew because Hendrickson looked amazing last night for Cincinnati, and there was a bunch of times he just barely missed Lamar. Lamar's he's greasy. He's just so squirrely. You can't get that. You can't get a good hit on him.
Right.
I definitely enjoyed this rivalry a lot more than the Chiefs and Bills rivalry.
I do like this. I like this one.
I do too. I think Lamar is what kind of puts this rivalry over the top. Because Mahomes is different than the other three because he's non-conventional. He's no-look pass. He's dropping down sidearm. He'll flip it forward with his left hand. He'll do whatever he needs to do to get the ball. Burrow and Josh Allen. I mean, obviously Josh Allen can run the football when he needs to, but they're more prototypical. Right, they're what we're used to seeing an NFL quarterback look like on a 5-step drop and plant and throw type quarterbacks. But Lamar and his athleticism added to it that he's a top 5 passer in the league. And that's what loved Michael Vick when he played. He was exciting to watch. We've seen other quarterbacks who were deadly running the football. In my opinion, we haven't seen anybody as skilled throwing the football that can run the football as well as Lamar does. He can beat you either way. Their team is set up for him to pick up some yardage each game. However, I believe there are games that they could just drop him back 25 or 30 times and him not escape out of the pocket, and they would still be able to win football games that way.
Yeah, his connection with his tight end, Mark Andrews, is amazing.
It is.
I mean, he caught him in stride last night, some great lobs, and then Rashad Bateman had a heck of a night last night. And so he can throw to all the different levels. He's taking his reads. When they do go 2 tight ends with Lightly, who's nursing a hamstring now. He was out last night. But they brought in Fuller. They brought in the other tight end. And I'm glad you said that because, sometimes that narrative is out there about running quarterbacks not being able to throw the ball. And I am glad that Lamar takes those throws, and people have to realize that ball is coming out and it's getting to people.
Yeah.
So this is gonna hurt. Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Does Derrick Henry take away from Lamar's MVP vote? Because Lamar is still looking like, man, he might get another freaking MVP. But did you take anything away from him, Jamal and Travis, because he's got Derrick Henry, the greatest offseason acquisition maybe of all time, especially if he breaks the rushing record?
I say no, because at the end of the day, MVP goes to the best player, most valuable player, and Lamar is still dicing people up. He's just showing that it's not just his legs he can kill you with. He can do it with his arm too, and they're scoring touchdowns. So,
Yeah, to me, it doesn't distract. It doesn't distract me from that. If I was a voter and I was looking at it, I wouldn't. I don't believe just because Derrick Henry, and especially, I mean, look, and this is the best possible scenario for Derrick Henry, right? I mean, I thought when they brought him in, I think they were thinking when you weigh him against, other former good running backs, Zeke, Dalvin Cook, name any others. I think when they brought him in, they thought we can still get 1,200 to 1,400 yards out of Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And they may get 1,800 yards.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it's unreal what he's been able to do. I don't think it distracts from it though.
Okay.
Another thing too,
yes,
that one drive, right? If we look at it, after Derrick Henry scored, they said Derrick Henry has scored a touchdown every single game. But the play right before that, Lamar literally danced around, didn't run out of bounds and everything. It's like I'm hoping they're looking at, okay, Lamar got them at that point for Derrick Henry to score.
So in any other year, I jokingly said this was the greatest offseason acquisition ever. I'll still probably say Haley and his transition between the Cowboys and and the Niners. But this was also the same year that Saquon Barkley, another running back, goes to a team and looks like he's really enhancing that team. So Derrick Henry can't even have that. And we can't even say that he's the best running back in the league because Saquon hasn't played yet this week.
Right.
And if he does another reverse hurdle over a Travis, the greatest play you've ever seen?
Yeah, I tend to think so. Yeah,
top 3 for sure.
Okay, no, give it to me. Where are you ranking?
Reverse hurdles are hard. It's something you don't see
From a hurdler, a track hurdler, Division I. Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll give it number 2.
Okay.
Here's why. All right. At 3, I have Odell's catch. Yeah. And at number 1, I don't know if y'all remember. I don't remember his name. It was a receiver on the Bengals, but he literally did a whole front flip over the defender when the defender was trying to tackle him.
I remember that.
So
and he stuck the landing.
That's why I have it at number 1.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes my rankings switch.
I like this game. Travis, is there anything that you would rank above this play?
Yeah, Odell's catch probably. It's tough to not put that in the top spot.
And I respect that.
I think what made this most enjoyable for me is when they show that camera shot behind the Eagles bench.
Yes.
When he makes that jump.
Yes.
And all the players just are
holding their heads.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you're playing in a league full of some of the best athletes in the world, and you do something that makes that many jaws drop, you've done something special for sure.
Okay, so the only reason is because this is Doug drama. I got to give y'all some drama here. Okay, Beast Quake and that run.
Oh, okay. That was
right?
Yeah.
We just talked about him. Name any Derrick Henry 99-yard run where he stiffs arms a couple people.
Yeah. Turn
right?
Josh into a lead blocker.
That's tough. Those are some tough. I want to give y'all one more because it sucks right now because I think Justin Jefferson is going to pass it. But insert maybe any Randy Moss play. And I remember one he hurdled a guy, but we have we have an adverb that we say now. You got mossed. So
check this out, right?
That's where I'm at.
Okay, the beast mode run was great.
Yes.
but there are some plays that are kind of similar to that beast mode run. Not the part where he stiff armed the dude and somehow kept his balance and ran it, but I think it was on Christmas Day when Alvin Kamara scored that touchdown against Green Bay. I don't know if you remember it, and it literally looked like he was just jogging.
Yeah.
So that's close. That's obviously not the beast mode play.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know. But what cracks me up more about that Saquon Barkley hurdle is that he got drug tested right after the game.
I didn't know that. Thanks for telling us that. That's cool.
He said, I got drug tested right after the game.
Yeah, what's in your system, brother?
Yeah. You know, and to your point about there's a run Earl Campbell made, and I think his second year ran over an there's an LA Rams linebacker, and he just plows over the top of him. I mean, there are so many plays in the NFL that we tend to have recency bias.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
I mean, but there have been a lot of great plays in the NFL. So I'm sure we could sit here and spend 20 or 30 minutes talking about it and come up with 25 or 30 plays that it would be hard to say isn't at least in the top 10. And then that's you can't have 30 in the top 10. Right?
Hey, that Terrell Owens catch when he was with the Niners. Was that against the Cowboys or Green Bay? Who was he playing against on that one? Do you guys remember?
I don't remember. No.
Man, I almost want to, because I'm thinking Terrell Owens has got to have one because he was just incredible. But okay, well, when we get to the dog days of summer and stuff is light, we may have to come back to this. I'm gonna put a note down for that. And I'm there. I really like where the young buck was going too, because I was kind of curious because we're also in that social media era where this you could see it again. We waited for ESPN but now you could see reels. You could see so much on your phone on multiple platforms. Okay, so I was curious on what you got, what your take was.
Yeah, but I'm glad he mentioned Odell.
The Terrell. Green Bay. Thank you. Oh, that Terrell Owens catch.
Wow, the highlights happened in the Green Bay.
3 seconds left on the clock. They were down 27-23 to Green Bay, and then he makes the catch. Oh, my gosh. 1998. Travis pulled it up for us here in the studio, and I don't even want to talk. I just want to watch it over and over on a loop. How did he get that catch? Kudos to Steve Young.
I don't know how Steve Young got the ball through.
Yeah.
I don't know how Terrell Owens hung on to it. He got pinballed by 3 guys.
Yes, he did.
And this is before the head and neck area stuff and all that, they all got full shoulder, if not headgear, shots in on boom, boom, boom. I mean, it was,
And Brett Favre, everyone go look at it. Brett Favre in his baseball cap on the sideline, just looking at it like, you got to be kidding me. I came into Candlestick Park, if that's where it was back in 98, if it was still there. I came into their stadium. I get this upset, and then this happens. That's good. That's amazing. So, Travis, if the AFC is going to look like this, can you explain to me then what's wrong with Joe Burrow and his team? How are they 4-6? They look like the team that could beat anyone, but they're also the team that can lose to me and Jamal and our flag football team. I mean, that's what I feel like with them.
We play on Sunday.
So is that So is there a problem with Joe Burrow? Like there are some guys that I used to box.
Yeah.
There's some guys that they don't really wake up till they take a couple punches, and then they're in the game.
I feel like I don't watch enough Bengals games to be able to say for sure.
Yeah.
You look at Burrow's numbers and you see his highlights, and like I said, it's pretty well documented that he gets off to a slow start.
Okay.
Games 1, 2, and 3 have put them in a hole the last several seasons. But that being said, he's playing really well right now. There's something about the makeup of the team overall. They got out to a lead last night. They give it up. They come back. So it's not like the offense fails them. The offense fails them sometimes, but then the offense can come back. It's not like the defense is bad, but then the defense just goes into this funk, and then they all of a sudden they blow up again. And so it's I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint, which I think that's what Cincinnati's struggling with right now is what do we do?
Yeah.
Are we a linebacker away? Are we a safety away?
Yeah.
Are we a corner away? Are we a running back away? You know, they let Joe Mixon walk.
Yes, they did.
And
he
so,
looks amazing.
You know, and so I'm going to just cop out and say I don't know. Because it just feels like they're really good.
Yeah.
They just don't play consistently at 85% or better all the time,
Yeah.
which is what you need to be able to win.
They lost this game when it was 4th and 3 yards, just
Yeah.
need 3 yards, throw it deep, incomplete pass. 4th and 2, again, throw it deep again, literally, so twice. It was
So he's
like-
a home run hitter. Joe Burrow is a home run hitter, and we just haven't realized that yet. Maybe.
I mean, I get it. Divisional game, you gotta,
Yes, sir.
You know, trying to assert your dominance and everything, but like,
A home game for the Ravens and their new purple crush uniforms. It was really awesome, that
liked
uniform colorway that they had last night. I really like it. I call this the Jesus complex, and hear me out on this, gentlemen, and tell me your thoughts. The Dan Marino effect is happening to Joe Burrow because we got quarterback Jesus over there. He puts us up to 21-7. We're doing what we're doing. We're on the road and we're holding Lamar Jackson to 7 points in the first half, and then touchdown Jesus falls asleep a little bit too, and then maybe we take the foot off the gas as a defense, but we know our boy will throw us back in, and then he does. I wonder if you guys think that happens, that when you play with such a really good player, that you kind of just relax because you say, "Oh, he's got us." You guys see any validity to that? 'Cause I feel like the Jesus complex is, I guess, the best way I can explain it.
I feel like in the division that the Bengals are in, you can't. I feel like you can't have that mindset.
You shouldn't.
What the he's got is. Now, if you're on the Chiefs, I feel like you can have that mindset, but not with the Bengals, in my
You
opinion.
know, I do think that Burrow and Jamar Chase both have this flair for the dramatic. They
Yeah.
they know they're capable of throwing the ball down the field. I think if you said, hey, put a corner on the outside of me, put a safety on the inside of me, and we got 4 downs to pick up a first down. Let's just tell the defense they're going to throw to me, and I'm going to find a way to pick up a first down every time. I think that's their mentality sometimes. And I think Burrow pushes the ball down the field more often than he needs to. I think he doesn't take as many checkdowns maybe as he might should.
Yeah.
Whereas you compare him to like what they have at Minnesota with Justin Jefferson, right?
Yeah.
Every bit the receiver Jamar Chase is. Every bit the ability to push down the field anytime you want to with him as well. But maybe it's because of the quarterbacks he's had, Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold, who are not as big a risk takers as Joe Burrow is.
Yeah.
They take the check downs a little more often. And now, at the end of the day, neither one of those teams has a Super Bowl. Nope. And so is one necessarily better or worse than the other? I can tell you that watching Cincinnati is really exciting. We just said that the Burrow-Lamar rivalry we put a little bit ahead of the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, right? And so maybe that plays into it. I don't know. That's just their mindset. But
You know what I just thought about? Gosh, it's a little NBA reference. I think it was Embiid. He said, I don't know why people keep calling this a rivalry. They beat us every time. When he was talking about the Celtics. And I wonder if, like, Josh Allen beat that a lot whenever he's compared with Mahomes. And it's like, man, they beat us every time.
Well,
Why
Travis,
they keep calling this a rivalry?
Lamar did just sweep Joe Burrow.
that's right.
So it ain't really a rivalry
Yeah.
to that point.
Yeah.
And they were good games. They were close games. Oh,
And on the flip side, I mean, there's still every time Cincinnati goes to Kansas City, there's still going to be a writer out there who calls it Burrowhead Stadium, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I love that. Mm-hmm. I don't know how else to really say this, but we have a great bit of drama going on. But I want to know, do you two have Chiefs fatigue though?
Like tired of seeing them win?
Are you tired of seeing them win?
Of course.
And are you rooting for? Well, you both said you have them in the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious, as fans, you guys are fans of different. You're an AFC fan. You're a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
And you're not even an AFC guy. NFC is your home with the Cowboys. So do y'all have fatigue?
I mean, I'm going to say this. At the very beginning of the season, I said I'm actually rooting for this Chiefs 3-peat just because we've never, ever seen it done. Am I still rooting for it? A little bit. But am I tired of seeing them win? Yes. Only because them, like, it was like the first 3 games they barely slipped by, and it was like literally like one call away from it being reversed. Oh, it was the Ravens game. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on now. Give Likely that touchdown, man.
Are you fatigued, Travis?
Not yet.
Okay.
At some point I'm likely to. You know, the what we don't know about this, like I had Patriots fatigue. Okay.
Okay.
I always talk about it. I don't know how often you guys think about it, but you know, Tom Brady had 2 careers, right? He had that injury in the middle that kind of broke up his career, and both the first half of his career and the second half career are both Hall of Fame careers, right?
Yes.
And so we don't know how long we're going to get out of Patrick Mahomes. You know, does he have 5 years left, or does he have 9 or 10 years left? And as far as that goes, while Kansas City has done a really nice job of replacing guys throughout a season and adding to their roster to sort of continue, you know, when you let the cheetah go, you got to figure out a way to get something else. And we looked around at the beginning of last year and said, what wide receiver is going to scare people on this team? And you know, sort of we used to say that about Tom Brady too. And so at some point, probably in the next couple of years, if this continues to be a thing, I probably will hit a fatigue point with them. But right now, not yet. Not yet.
I want to see a 3-peat, just like you said. I've seen a 3-peat because I was around for the Bulls. You know, I was an adult. Not saying that a kid, someone younger than me who was a kid, doesn't remember it, but I got to see that. And I'm really looking forward to finding out if they can do it and all the decisions that you got to make throughout the year to make that happen. You know, I thought the beginning of the season they were hiding Travis Kelce to keep him healthy. And I think Travis was okay with that because at this point, Travis is going to stay in the greatest tight end of all time conversation. But if you can keep him healthy to get him to those playoffs. So I just kind of curious. You guys thought when it comes to that fatigue, there are a lot of different ways that we're going to go with this Patrick Mahomes talk. If he plays for another 5 years or if he does another 10 or 11, there may be other things that it takes to unseat the greatest of all time, Tom Brady. You know, having a 3-peat is something that you could always have. Maybe you don't get 7 rings, but if you have a 3-peat, that kind of puts you at maybe number 2 in the greatest of all time.
All right, so we need to get to a break. We'll come back on the other side, finish up. We're back on the Fans View, KAZI 88.7. Travis Kent alongside Douglas Washington and Jamal January. Let's get into some games this weekend. We've got a classic NFC East battle, Dallas-Philadelphia. It's classic only in name.
Oh, it'll be a classic if Saquon blesses us with another athletic achievement. Yeah, I'm not excited. I am curious though. You have a quarterback in Cooper Rush that knows the offense. Won a couple games last year, right? When Dak went down, he's got all that Cowboy talent. I mean, what if he goes on a run? Does that mean something to either of you? And does that make Dak look bad if he rambles off a couple wins? I'm just kind of curious. You guys thought, y'all are from Texas. You guys, I mean, I know you're a Dolphins fan, Jamal, but you guys feel it and see it different. Does that make Dak tradable next year?
Well, no, he's not tradable. I mean, you just gave him a
Stupid amount.
$200 million guaranteed, $60 million a year contract. So yeah, I mean, look, the only thing we would be able to, I believe, we'd be able to take out of if Cooper Rush is able to have success as quarterback is that it's either a more conservative style or a more aggressive. Whatever happens, it will be a style thing because he and Dak are kind of the same type of quarterback. They're pocket guys.
Yeah.
Dak early in his career was a lot more mobile. Ever since the ankle injury, he's not nearly as mobile, and so we've seen how that has played out the last couple of years. So they're going to play the same style of game. You can pretty much call the same types of plays for them.
Yeah.
What we've seen the last couple of years is the interceptions have gone up for Dak. Sometimes we've said it's been wide receiver issues. They break out of a break wrong. They don't fight for a ball. He's throwing a timing pattern and they're out of position. And so we make some excuses for him, but we've also seen him make some bad throws here and there. Yeah. So if Cooper has more success, it'll be interesting to see what style he does it with. Does he not underthrow balls? Is he overthrowing and giving CD a chance to go get it?
Yeah.
Is he being more conservative, taking a better check down as opposed to just checking down to the back out of the backfield? Is he checking down to the tight end and maybe it's a little more successful than the back? I think that's going to be more of the story. And will it make Dak look bad? Regardless, it'll make Dak look bad.
Okay.
That's. And Dallas fans right now, it's, we are who we are. Mm-hmm. We got CeeDee Lamb for a while. And by the way, CeeDee fought through that injury last week. He wants to play this week.
Okay, good.
I've got no qualms with CeeDee. I've got no qualms with Dak, except for the fact that when you get paid $60 million,
the expectation,
you should be able to find a way to make your players better around you. I saw Tom Brady be saddled with wide receivers who I didn't think were very good, and he made them better.
So the Cowboys are 0-3 at home. This is a home game. So if you're Cooper Rush, this is the type of game for your first start. That's good. You got some home cooking. You roll right out of your house that day. You can kiss your wife and kids. I don't know if he's got wife and kids. And you can keep that routine on your way to the game. So he should be comfortable, calm down. The problem is this year, the Philadelphia Eagles coming in are 3-1 on the road. And so I think they're going to be very confident. I think we're going to have a good game. I honestly think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. And I am confident in Cooper Rush, just like you said, Travis, being able to carry out the game plan that McCarthy has. We still have a Super Bowl winning coach on that sidelines. He didn't go get another. Oh, wait, he did. He did go get another backup quarterback. Mm-hmm. So I want to start with you, Travis. You see how I let that in there? Trey Lance or Cooper Rush?
Cooper Rush. But I think the Cowboys, so mind you, the Cowboys offense has the least amount of motion of any offense in the NFL.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Do you have to have motion to be successful? Not necessarily, obviously, but if you're lacking in talent, would motion maybe help some of that lesser talent shake a defensive back or maybe get jammed off the line of scrimmage? Just asking a question here. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if I was calling plays, I might use a little more motion. So I think you know where I'm headed here.
Yeah.
This coaching staff has some things that I think they can do to try to take some pressure off of other people. I think one of them is if this coaching staff isn't working on some packages that have Trey Lance in them,
Yes.
they're idiots.
Yes.
What do you have to lose?
I know.
What do you have?
I'm glad you went there.
You used a pick on this guy that you could have used for a running back that could be starting for you this year.
Yep.
So get him on the field
Yeah.
and find something to do with him.
Because you don't have to massage the ego of a $60 million quarterback. Cooper Rush don't care.
No.
Cooper Rush would be like, all right, man. Y'all gonna go with the package right now? All right, I'm gonna give me some Gatorade. I'll be over here on the side. Let me know when I go back in.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went there because that's where I'm going. I'm saying I want to see some Trey Lance. I want to see them wheels. I want to see why San Francisco wanted him. I want to see it. Let's use him and his mobility and throw that at everybody for here because nobody's prepared for that.
Yeah.
Everyone prepared for Dak and his statuesque self, except for in the warm-ups when those hips be moving, but to sit in the pocket. But now you got some rollouts, you got some runouts, you got some RPOs with Trey Lance. Man, y'all better use it.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
Okay.
I think Cooper Rush is your starting quarterback. I think he plays at least 75% of the snaps.
Yeah.
But you're crazy if on 3rd and 2, you don't change something. You got to change something. You can't just run the plays you've been running all year that you only get a 36% success rate on 3rd down conversions on. Do something different, please.
Oh, and remember, guys, ain't nobody scared of your backfield. So you better mix something else up because we ain't scared of your running backs.
Yeah, you want to give Rico Dowdle, who should be the best running back on this team, you want to give him a little better chance? Put Trey Lance next to him, run his own read.
Yeah.
At least make a defensive lineman's eyes have to look and see and read something as opposed to just manhandling the lineman in front of them and making a tackle.
Yeah. Jamal, did we sell you on a little bit of excitement for the Cowboys and the Eagles, or are you going the other way?
I'm not excited for this game.
Oh my gosh, I could tell. That's why I had to ask.
I just think Saquon is going to put on a clinic this game just because of the fact the Cowboys needed a running back and the Cowboys decided to not try and go after Saquon, or try and put money down for Saquon.
Y'all ain't call me?
Yeah,
this offseason?
So
okay. Now
there talks about Derrick Henry instead of me.
Oh,
Saquon. I'm literally thinking like that. Don't worry, we're playing Dallas. And then
y'all used to see me twice a year when I was in at the New York Giants. Y'all ain't call me?
I already think there's 2 teams in the NFL that players can't wait to play, and it's the defending champions, the Chiefs, and the Cowboys. For some reason, I always just think that. So I think Saquon's going to put on a show. So
Travis has when he was with the Giants, did he show out with you guys? I mean, I know we've had the hapless Giants these last couple of years, but do you remember always fearing, crap, we gotta deal with that guy?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But especially over the last several years, the Dallas defense was pretty good against the run under Dan Quinn.
Okay.
And Daniel Jones, as a quarterback, doesn't necessarily put any fear into you. I mean, stats wise, you actually look at his stats. His stats don't look terrible.
I've been a fan this year of the games I've watched, and I don't know why they've had so many primetime games so far.
But the Giants' issue over the last several years has been the red zone.
Yeah.
You would think they would have been better with Saquon, but at some point, once you get inside the 15-yard line, and you just totally disrespect the passing game, and you just say, let's stop Saquon from running it into the end zone. If Daniel Jones finds a way to throw it into the end zone, so be it. No. But Saquon's not going to beat us running it into the end zone, and so that running game for New York struggled back then. And I think Dallas was able to take advantage of some of that as well. But this Eagles team is better. This Eagles offensive line is a better offensive line, I think, than New York had the last several years. The Wildcat factor here is Nick Sirianni, right? Because Sirianni, for as good as Philadelphia looks on paper and as good as they can be, Sirianni does his best every week to try to find to lose a game for his team.
And I trust my process. I go through my process when I make those decisions, and I trust that process. Might not always get the results that I want. That was his quote. This pass weekend. Travis, I want to know this then. Travis is a diehard Cowboys fan if you're a first-time listener. Travis, I'm going to do to you what I did to Mr. Oklahoma. And I'm going to look at the remaining schedule, and I'm going to say maybe only 2 wins, and that's against Carolina, and hopefully you get Bryce Young, and the Giants because you'll get Daniel Jones. But for the rest of them, the Bucks, y'all got the Eagles, y'all got to see the Commanders, y'all got the Bengals we just talked about. You got the Texans coming up after this Eagles game, and at least that's a home game for you. But, brother,
No.
it might not get any better.
I agree.
So, are we looking at a new coach then? Is that his fault? And maybe there's going to have to be a coaching change,
Well, I mean,
in your opinion?
so at some point in the chain of events, you can only do 3 things.
Okay.
You can change the upper level that runs the company, the GM. You can change the coaching staff,
Okay.
or you can change the players.
All right.
So there's a lot of players that can be changed out, but Dak and CD are going to be here. I'm going to hold off on the Micah conversation.
Yeah, because that's a valuable piece.
So, do you think the owner is going to get rid of the general manager? It doesn't appear he will, since he's been the worst in the league and he hasn't fired himself yet.
I heard there was a lot of screaming coming out of their office the other day when they were having a meeting. So maybe.
I mean, look, the writing's on the wall. McCarthy is out, barring something that I can't even fathom happening. McCarthy's out of here. It's just, Jerry Jones said he would never fire a coach mid-year again like he did Wade Phillips.
Yeah.
I kind of take him at his word. This could get bad enough.
Yeah.
If they don't, because the Giants is Thanksgiving? Is that Thanksgiving?
The 28th. Yes, sir.
If the Giants are Thanksgiving and they don't get that win, so in other words, that would be, 4 more straight losses?
Yes, sir.
Then Jerry might change his mind.
I want to remind people, let me just jump in right quick. I want to remind people, with Dak, you only beat him 20-15
Right.
earlier in the year.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I think that's the point here. Because presumably Dak's injury right now, they're talking possibly after the Thanksgiving game, him coming back. Although, man, we're still doing second opinions with doctors.
Yep.
We could lose him for the year.
Yeah. I think there's nothing to save here. I think you keep him out.
Well, and so that's the other part of it is, even if he's able to come back, do you just tell him, hey, let's just keep you on the sidelines. Let's let Cooper Rush finish this thing out, or Trey Lance, or a combination of the two, or whatever, and we'll retool for next year. I think the real conversation that we're going to be having later on is going to center around, is this roster good enough for you to offer Micah Parsons a top-of-the-league contract? And the flip side of the question is, there's 2 sides of the coin, right? The flip side of the question is, does Micah Parsons look at this team and go, this is a franchise I want to stay with and continue on with? I heard Troy Aikman this week said that on his Cowboys teams, Wade Wilson came onto the team late and said to Troy, man, the highest paid and the most talented players on this team are the hardest workers. That's what makes a great team. Tom Brady,
Yes.
players talked about how hard Tom Brady was on them in practice.
Oh, we saw him screaming on the sidelines at him.
Exactly. Those are and they're the hardest workers, and that's why you become a great team. This offseason, Micah Parsons went and did sumo wrestling. He does a podcast every week where he talks about every other team.
With a guy from another team.
Yeah, with a guy from another team.
A guy he's supposed to sack.
I'm not saying he's not a great player.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, are you necessarily a much better team when he's on your team, or can you get more? I don't know if there's a way to get anything for him if you put him on the marketplace,
I was
but
gonna say that.
that's the biggest problem, right? So you may end up just having to let him walk and starting over from scratch. But I don't know. That's a question that's got to be asked at the end of this year, because this could be a 3, 4, or 5 win team at the end of the year.
Sheesh. That means you're going into the draft. Maybe you're going to get another receiver.
And there's 6 2-win teams out there, so you might still draft like 8th, 9th, or 10th.
Yep. Yeah. You're going to have to give up something to get higher. Yeah, that could be a possibility, though. Trade up and see if you can get another. Okay. Well, good luck, brother. You need the Giants win to stop the bleeding. You're at the Commanders for that one after the Eagles and Texans. So it could be bad. We're already on a 3-game losing streak now, and thinking that the backup quarterback or quarterbacks is going to save the day. Part of the reason I was asking that is because what if McCarthy goes on a run? What if he makes these changes like we said, does a RPO with Trey Lance, has those packages, and then starts to win some games here? Does that renew some confidence in McCarthy? And
It could. But let's talk about some of the other games around the league. Lions-Texans, a big game on Sunday night.
Whew. I can't wait. I'm excited. The Texans are undefeated at home, and this is a home game for them. Although, if you want your kneecaps bitten, then you're going to get it done by the Lions. They have impressed me. What they did last week in the elements proves that they are not just a dome team. It's hard to bet against them.
Yeah.
I could be swayed on this, but I'm going to go Lions on this game.
Right.
I'm going to go Lions. That's going to be tough.
Let's get to the phones real quick. Hey, caller, you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon, y'all.
Hey, good afternoon.
The Texans are undefeated at home.
Oh, can you turn your radio down, please, sir?
For the millions living with
All right, you got me?
Yeah.
becomes a real struggle.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on y'all keep saying Brady's the GOAT. Brady's not the GOAT. When Brady was out there playing, you couldn't touch him. You couldn't call and tackle him at the knees. You talk about great quarterbacks, you got to talk about people like Terry Bradshaw, Ron Staubach, Joe Namath, Joe Theismann, people that got hit in the back and got up and did the next period. Now, of the no touch era, yeah, he's the greatest. But of the real contact football, nah.
No, that's a great point. Montana, Staubach, Bradshaw, Aikman, up until 95 or so, 96, 97. I guess it would have been right around 2000s when really the no-touch era began.
Yeah. I was going to say
it was already progressing, because I think sort of that mid 80s was when we started having the in the grasp rule and some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But you could still get hit. You could still get hit in the head. I mean, Troy Aikman got knocked out because of concussions. I mean, so yeah, you make a good point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's all I want to say, man. I love your conversation, man. Keep it up.
All right.
I'll talk to y'all next Friday. I'm going to have some good stuff to talk about. Basketball, all that. We're going to talk about everything.
All right, good deal. We appreciate
here for
it.
it.
All right, thanks.
Do you also think that some other things that make it either harder or easier to compare quarterbacks in different areas?
Hey, we got 8 minutes. Let's talk about stuff going on. Steelers, Commanders.
Oh. Yeah,
This is a 6-2, folks. This is a 6-2 versus 7-2 matchup.
Yeah, and Russ is cooking.
He is.
And
I'm going with the rookie.
This is the team close to where he grew up. I'm going to say Russ is going to show out. I'm going to go Steelers. I think Russ has something to prove to his team from where he grew up. Also, Mike Tomlin is from that same area in Virginia, so he wants to beat the team he grew up near. I think
I'm still going. I'm gonna go with Jaden Daniels, man.
Whoa!
Why not? I'm madly impressed by the way he's been playing.
What a player!
So the other intriguing matchup I see on the weekend is two teams that a win keeps them in the conversation. A loss really puts them behind an 8 ball. McCaffrey expected to play this week. 49ers at Buccaneers.
Yeah. I think he'll be on a pitch count. I hope they don't overuse him since he's had so much time off. Bring Jordan Mason in to help. And because of that, you don't have the full Monty. You don't have the full McCaffrey. So I'm going to go Buccaneers.
Buccaneers?
Yeah, I think the Buccaneers will get this. It's a home game for them too.
I'm going Buccaneers too.
Yeah.
I'm really worried about Christian McCaffrey. I'm not
Me too.
gonna lie, because I don't want a Kevin Durant issue to happen. And it puts us back even more.
Yeah, for sure. All right, anything else in the NFL y'all want to get to before let's spend the last 5 minutes say on college football?
Yes.
No, there's no other games. The Bills, Colts, Josh Allen go out there, get another win against Flacco and the Colts. And do we get a little more attention on Josh Allen? Do you look at him different if he's 8-2 after this win?
Yeah.
And I feel like now more people are overlooking him. So if the Bills go on a run, I think we'll get more Josh Allen talk.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, coming up in college football this weekend.
Got some good games.
I mean, Alabama, LSU.
Yeah.
That game kind of stands out, doesn't it?
It's a knockout game.
It is a knockout game. I need LSU to win it though.
Okay. You didn't go with Alabama. I'm shocked by that.
Jalen Milroe's clutch gene has kind of been declining a little bit for me. So I think because they're playing LSU, right? Are they playing at Death Valley? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Trust me.
You gotta go to the Valley.
Yeah.
Okay. Travis, who do you think's gonna win that?
I like Milroe. I try to be as consistent as I can when I'm picking football games, and my consistency is I think the best quarterback in the game gets my edge. I think Milroe is just a little bit better.
Okay. It's funny you say that. 'Cause all the mock drafts I'm looking at don't even have Milroe in the top. They have the LSU quarterback. I can't pronounce his last name.
Nussmeier.
Thank you, Nussmeier. Yeah, they have him getting drafted before Milroe. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's Milroe has a lot to. He has professional level doubters he has to get by.
Absolutely.
But college level doubters, there ain't no college level doubters left anymore. He's clearly got the chops for college football.
I'm excited to see. I think Harold Perkins Jr. I think that's his name. He's supposed to be a first round draft pick. He's a linebacker on LSU. I'm excited to see him versus Jalen Milroe.
Another regionally, we talked about it earlier when Mr. Oklahoma's here. Oklahoma, Missouri, a big game for Oklahoma if they want to try and get that bowl eligibility because they don't have a lot of opportunities left to get victories on their schedule.
Yeah, and that keeps Missouri alive for the top 12 for the playoffs. So yeah. We'll know what we have in Missouri after this. It helps their record because they're going to finish with Arkansas, Mississippi State, South Carolina. I don't see those. I mean, it's SEC, but I don't see them losing again.
We talked Florida, Texas a little earlier. I want to talk Georgia, Ole Miss. Georgia at Ole Miss. This is a big game. Ole Miss is. I would think that Ole Miss fans were expecting a little more out of this season up until this point.
Yeah.
But they can kind of make themselves right again by getting a home win against Georgia.
They can.
It's in Oxford. If you've never been, ladies and gentlemen, listeners, this is the best tailgate ever. This is the place to go, is tailgate heaven. And because of that, Georgia's going to be distracted. I got Ole Miss for the upset.
Jackson Dart.
I didn't want to say that when Brandon was here. I think Ole Miss is going to do it. And to your point, they got something to prove because they've been so up and down. They only have the 2 losses. But I think Ole Miss is going to prove this, and it's a home game. So I got Ole Miss.
I got Georgia. I'm not going to lie. Just because I think the fact that Georgia came to UT and beat UT.
Yes, sir.
I think they can go right back into Oxford and do the exact same thing.
Okay.
And another thing about Jackson Dart too, from the game footage I've been watching on him, he likes throwing the ball deep, and I mean a lot. he's kind of a stat patter a little bit,
Yeah.
But he likes throwing the ball deep a lot. And if I'm Malachi Starks, I'm going, I got you.
But he's been doing it successfully. He's only got 3 interceptions. You said
That's
everybody's got Nussmeier high. Nussmeier has 3 times the interceptions of Dart. Nussmeier has 9.
So crazy, right?
Only 20 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, and Dart has 21 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So he's protecting that ball.
Quietly, Texas Tech is putting together a pretty good season.
Yes.
Colorado at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
What do we think? I mean, this is a battle of two teams. I think we think a little bit higher of Colorado because of Shedeur and Travis Hunter. But this is two teams who have some still outside hopes of getting into the conference championship game.
Yes, sir.
You get in the conference championship game, you got a chance to get in the playoff.
So here's what I got. First of all, shout out to Tosh Brooks, kid from Manor, running back on Texas Tech, playing his butt off this season.
He's about to become the leading rusher in Texas Tech history.
Absolutely, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But Texas Tech's very first game of the season, they almost lost to an FCS school, my alma mater, Abilene Christian University.
Hey, see you.
Scratch them, cats. So I'm going with Deion, Shedeur, Travis Hunter, and the Buffs this game. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I think Colorado's actually finally starting to put it together.
I'm going to Colorado later on this year, and I'm going to go to Boulder and get me some gear. And I'm a fan of Coach Prime and that team, but I do think they are in a good place. I think they're going to win that game.
My dad and I actually tried to get tickets to this game.
Yeah.
It was sold out. The very first Colorado game we saw, we were like, okay, they're coming down to Lubbock. Maybe we can make a trip. Sold out, literally. And I was like, man.
Sorry.
Staying with the Big 12 real quick, BYU Utah. So we've got a Utah matchup in the Big 12.
Yeah.
BYU right now, top 12 released earlier this week. Right now, they would be in that bye position.
Number 4.
Can BYU? This is a BYU team. I think they were picked 8th in the conference to start the year. Can they finish this run out? Can they win the Big 12 undefeated?
Yeah.
'Cause they would need to be undefeated to actually get that bye spot. Because they lose one game, they could still win the conference. They could still get into the CFP, but they would probably then lose out to one of the group of 5 schools who would be higher ranked and would get that bye spot.
I'm looking at the schedule. They should win out. There's no questions why they shouldn't.
So in the Big 12 championship, if they got to deal with Colorado or
unless Iowa State is there,
it's a one-loss Colorado team.
And so I think that's where it all falls. Is does Iowa State right themselves again and begin to look at? 'Cause I think a lot of people were thinking Iowa State was the best team in the conference.
Yes.
Then they stumble.
Yep.
Now, okay, is BYU the best team in the conference? Can they keep it going? If it's a BYU Iowa State matchup in that Big 12 championship game, I think that's the best. That's the best hope of the Big 12 of getting 2 teams into the final 12.
Yeah.
But I think that's also the best matchup out of this Big 12 as well. So
yeah, it is. Oh man, we're gonna be glued to the TV. There's some great games. I'm excited for the weekend.
Yeah,
I am too.
All right, so we're out of time. We got to get out of here, and we will see you back here next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling in right here on the Fans View.